Hey everybody, I'm Nickel Skinner with Skinner Games, and you're here for another episode of game reviews in 5 minutes or less. Before we get into our episode, I kind of want to cover what's been going on with us lately, because our channel's been kind of dead for the last few months. I'm not going to go into any gory detail, but we've had some family things go down, a few people have gotten sick, we've had a lot of stuff kind of going on in our background personal lives that have made it hard for us to continue on with the channel. But I think things are starting to settle down now, and we're starting to kick back up with some projects, including retro role-playing, which we will restart at the beginning of the year. This time, I won't be the GM. One of our regular players will be taking that role, and I'll get to play. Also, we have a really exciting item card deck that we're making, but it's a little different than what you guys are used to seeing. In addition, that we've been making a role-playing game ourselves that we'll be publishing under the OSR label, and we're busy working away on that. So now that we've gotten some business out of the way, let's get to our review. In this episode, we'll be talking about Bloat Games' expansion for Dark Places and Demogorgons, the 1980s themed investigatory role-playing game, which we covered in an earlier review. But as I said, we'll be covering the supplement, the Cryptid Manual. Now, I'm a huge fan of conspiracy theorists and cryptids. That doesn't mean I necessarily believe them, but I love to watch them. Also, you can find some amazing story ideas for your games if you watch tons of conspiracy theorists and read about cryptids. Lots of amazing stuff. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about this book. It should be out soon if it's not out by the time that this video is released. And if you have this game, this book is a must for you. So it comes in at 89 pages, which isn't really bad. It's got a nice high gloss manual. Ooh, glossy. But it really makes the art pop. So this is a nice shot of what the art kind of looks like and what you can get a good idea of what's in the manual. So it is black and white art for the most part, but you do get these shocks of crimson in it, which gives it a really nice aesthetic. The book itself has a decent binding. It's got the nice heavy gloss pages as well. Ooh, gloss pages. You also get this fun little redaction of some things at the beginning. So the vast majority of this manual is for monsters. So you get a lot of the cryptids that you'll see, like Bigfoot, the Loveland frogmen, different kinds of extraterrestrials like reptilians or greys or Nordics. There's a bunyip, Cerberus, Sirats, Wendigos, Wandering Witches, Skinwalkers, Spriggans, and a number of others that I don't want to spoil for you. But you also see within these pages more than just monsters, which is something that I appreciate. So one thing that I loved about 3rd edition Dungeons & Dragons was templates. I know that was kind of a hit or miss with some people, but I love being able to throw something onto a monster and change it instantaneously. For instance, you can make it dire, so you can make it huge and nasty. You can also make it giant, so if you want it Godzilla, you could totally try and do that. Rabid, who wants a rabid boar or a rabid dire bear chasing them. Radioactive, how about a rabid radioactive dire boar? Werebeasts, a radioactive rabid dire were-boar. Or a zombie, a rabid radioactive dire were-boar that is a zombie, because we need that for some reason. But it'd be fun, sort of. That'd be an ugly death. You can also turn anything into a vampire, which could be potentially interesting if you want to play in a setting of the basic 80s, because let's face it, vampires were all over in the 80s. Who doesn't love some Lost Boys? There are also a number of basic enhancements that you can give your creatures, and there's a table that lists those, in addition to a new stat, morale. And morale is something that's often overlooked in a lot of role-playing games, I think. So if you have a group of creatures, or even goblins, say, and you take out the vast majority of their leader, that's going to scare most of them, especially goblins, and they're going to run the heck away. They're not going to want to stick around and fight when their leader has been taken down, or more than half their number. So morale is a really interesting stat for them to include, especially in this particular expansion, because I can just imagine a group, a family, a pod, whatever you want to call it, of Bigfoots, who are just jacking up your party and then need to make a morale check, or you guys need to make a morale check because you're getting jacked by a bunch of large animal creatures. Overall, I think this book is very well put together. So the binding is nice and tight, the pages are nice and clean, the art is very emotive, the information is clear and concise and well put together, they have enough flavor text to make things interesting and generate a few ideas for you. And as far as supplements go, they don't need to be very long to be interesting and useful. Build Games really knocked it out of the park with this supplement. Now, if only we could convince other people to make them this clear, concise, this interesting, and this fun. If you found this review helpful, please smash that like button, make sure to hit the notification bell so that you guys can see when we upload new videos. We do try to upload them once a week when we're actually active, but we might tone that back to every other week just so we're not killing ourselves at the beginning of the new year. And don't forget to check out our other show, especially when it starts running again, Retro Role Playing, where we play through a ton of old games, some new stuff. Thanks for joining us, and as always, happy gaming.